Good morning. A lot of great conversation going on. I hate to break it up, but we're here for a very good reason. So we are going to get started. For those of you that I have not met, my name is Nathan Sattler. I'm the immediate past chair of the museum, and it is my distinct pleasure and honor to welcome all of you either back to the museum or here for the first time. So welcome to Manchester, New Hampshire, America's Credit Union Museum. Just over 115, 116 years ago, 2 floors directly below us, the spark of credit unions took hold and it spread across our country. And today we are honoring 7 incredible women that are fanning the flames of the credit union movement and making just a wonderful impact. So on behalf of the board, my sincerest congratulations to each one of you for the incredible impact that you've had on our members and our movement. And I'm going to introduce now someone that does not need introduction, but does deserve a huge, huge thank you for all of her work and her vision on putting today's recognition ceremony together. Stephanie Smith, Executive Director of America's Credit Union.
Good morning. It seems like we just did this, but a whole year has passed. I am thrilled that you're all here to join us for the 3rd induction ceremony for America's Credit Union Museum's exhibit, Credit Union Women Making History, HERSTORY. A little bit of background on the exhibit, and I've told a couple of you this when you were in the space, that when we connected the museum building with the research center next door, the hallway that now holds the HERSTORY exhibit was lined with portraits of CUNA presidents. And we would inevitably go through the tour and we get to the end, at the end where Jim Nussle's picture is, and bless us, we all love Jim, but the response was always, well, where are the women? And I went to the board and said, I have an idea. And the board was super supportive. They're very supportive still. And I want to thank the Museum Board of Directors for their support of this project. And there's a number of directors in the room. If you'd all just raise your hands so we can give you, your due credit for seeing this project through. So today we're adding 7 women to the HERSTORY exhibit. That brings the grand total to the HERSTORY exhibit of 33. And for those of you that have seen the space in person, you know that it is rather full. But there's still more stories to tell. So when we started this project, we thought we'd get maybe 3 or 6 or 9 would be the goal. And we asked the credit union industry to tell us the stories of these women that are doing amazing things. Because what I've learned is the women of the movement are incredibly powerful, but they're also incredibly humble. But what I also learned is for every single one that is humble and is hesitant to tell their story, there's an army of other people behind them that want to share their story so that everybody knows the good that these women are doing in the credit union space. So it is my honor and privilege to add these 7 women to the HERSTORY exhibit. You have broken glass ceilings, you've pushed down barriers, and Carolyn, you actually climbed a mountain. So congratulations, welcome to HERSTORY. And one of the best parts of the HERSTORY exhibit for me personally is getting to know all of you. And the first year we did HERSTORY, we added Susan Mitchell to the exhibit, which makes absolute sense. She is a rock star among rock stars. And I have the good fortune that Sue is a newly elected museum director. As of about 8 hours ago. Known before the newness wears off, we put her to work. And, because Susan knows all of you so well, she is going to do us the honor of introducing each of our inductees and letting them share a little bit of their story before we make it official and close out this ceremony. So, Sue, take the stage.
Yeah, it was kind of like, we nominate you to join the board. Oh, you're willing? Great. Okay, now will you MC? And I said, oh my God, what a privilege. So thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Nathan. We have a wonderful program plan. And hey, I am up with technology. Just want you to know, I have been potentially long-winded. And so I am succinct in what we're going to say today. As you go through your program, you'll see that we have women that not only have, if you will, changed the world, but they've worked really hard and they've sacrificed. And in many cases, their families, their friends, it's an ongoing challenge for all of us to lead credit unions today. And so as I was putting down some notes just to kick us off here, I have just a couple of thoughts. In the spirit of what it took, when you look at America's Credit Union Museum, how many of you, is this your first time being here? Isn't it amazing? Please tell your friends, please tell the credit union industry, please come here, do planning here, because this is something that will live on way past all of us. And so the exhibits are incredible, the great leaders, all of the leaders, no matter what gender, are being recognized in different ways at the museum. It inspires me to learn of the dedication, the sacrifices, the vision they had to stand up for a cooperative movement that ensures financial access to all people. When I think of that, that is a commitment that we will share today, and it's relevant for the future as well. It is in that spirit that I introduce the amazing HERSTORY inductees for 2024. They represent women who are the backbone of the system, who mentored future generations, and who are energizing our cooperative community with their heads and their hearts. So with that, I'd like to begin with Crystal Long. I've had the opportunity, wonderful opportunity, to work with Crystal on the Worldwide Board Foundation. And in that work, you see her dedication. You see her always reminding each of us what it means to make a difference. And her team, in some of the pictures last night, called her part of their family. And I really believe that's what you're all about. Please join me in congratulating Crystal, and will you come on and say a few words?
Thank you so much for those kind words, very, very kind words. And so many of you here are people that I know and have been inspired by for all the years that I've been in the credit union movement. So I've told stories, so I'm going to tell one that you may have heard before about my entrance, if you will, to the credit union. I was dating this guy, and his mother had worked at GECU in El Paso for several years back in the 1960s. So there's real history here. And she said to me one day, she said, "Why don't you go and apply at the credit union?" And I said, "Well, what's that?" I had no idea. So I did. I applied at the credit union when I was just a kid, and I was given the opportunity to be a file clerk at the credit union. And so I want to let you know, you can listen to your mother-in-law, okay? That's a very important takeaway for this discussion. So listen to your mother-in-law. But anyway, I started as a file clerk, and I just had this amazing journey going through and zigzagging in and out of the organization, not out of the organization, but into different places that made me a little bit crazy because of the zigzag. One day I'm doing loans, the next day I'm doing something else. But I think the thing that impresses me the most about credit unions is that there's such a laser focus on the people. And as a CDFI and an organization that truly looks at the individual and the heart of that individual, we spend a great deal of our time trying to reach people that maybe don't have the financial background, that need the coaching and the mentoring. We have a community development department that I'm very, very proud of, and that really is their entire role. But I tell everyone, you are a leader no matter what you do. It doesn't matter. You're leading in every capacity. So I am just thrilled to be here. I never thought I'd be at a museum. I was telling somebody I must be a relic, for them in the museum. That's it. I'm a relic and I need to retire now. But it really is just an amazing blessing, and I thank God for all the people that have gone before me. I stand on their shoulders. I want to say thank you to Dee Dee, my chief of staff. She is just an amazing blessing to me as well. And so it's wonderful to be here today, and I thank you so much for this recognition. Thank you.
Yeah, it kind of is mind-boggling, isn't it? When you think, I'm in a museum. You know? I told my grandchildren, I said, what does that mean, Grandma? And one of them turned around to me and to him, to the younger grandchild, and he said, it just means she's in credit unions. And I went, wait, okay? It's all about the family, and I really appreciate everything that you've done, Crystal. So let's take a look now as we go back and we say, okay, what's next? And of course, you know, my phone's gonna act up. Let's welcome someone to the stage who I've had the beautiful opportunity to not only work with her, but to know her, to consider her my BFF, if you will, but it's for unusual reasons. When you're a vendor, okay, we're a little bit outside the circles of credit unions. And we work really hard to push ourselves in and to be here and to support and to provide wherever we can. And Judy McCartney was one of those people that said, oh no, you're a partner. Oh no, you come with me. And then I learned that she and I both loved astrology. So it was in the stars. But that's Judy. So I have a couple things here to say. You know that she's done it her way from the very beginning. And as a CEO, she joined the boards when there weren't females at the table. Her influence was deep, and her impact has always been to lift people up. She easily moved from navigating her primary SAG, Orange County, going bankrupt, making sure that her people got paid while they worked through the government issues. She created some of the first Hispanic initiatives back in the 90s, before we were looking at the segments the way we do today. And in this incredible year, she was backstage. She was the chair of the California Credit Union League. And the guest of honor, the speaking gentleman, was Magic Johnson, okay? And a few of us, probably not in Boston, are Laker fans, okay? And she's backstage texting me pictures of her and Magic, okay? And I'm out in the audience going, that's not fair. And so I immediately stood up as soon as he came out and asked a question. And some would say I was rather obnoxious about the way I got his attention. But Judy creates that kind of energy. She wants you to be competitive, she wants you to push, and even today, her spirit is that strong. So please welcome Judy McCartney.
Well, they say for every man there's a good woman behind him, and I have to say for every woman there's plenty of people behind me making me look good. I want to thank my family, my two daughters, one of which is no longer with us due to cancer, but they sacrificed so much for me, and I have to give them credit. I thank Jack for getting me here, because it was not easy. But I'm here, and I am the relic, but I'm not giving up. I also want to thank Sue and her whole family that adopted me as part of their family through the years, and the credit union people that I've had the joy of working with. Credit unions were my passion, so work was easy, mostly, not always, but pretty much a lot of the time. I appreciate so much Rudy coming today, and Jason and Randy showing up. We well worked together Wasn't easy in this weather, but I appreciate you guys coming so much. And you've always made me look really good, and I've always got to take the credit. So thank you all. That's it.
You know, as we go forward here, it's not only those that we stand upon their shoulders of greatness, but it's also those that just burst into a room, okay? I first met Tansley in a space where there was no not meeting Tansley. There's an energy, there's excitement about what she does, and that passion is what will take us forward. And the passion isn't about Tansley. The passion is about bringing the credit union spirit to everything we do. Last Friday, many of us know that she hosted, I think, the second annual. You know, this is not something that's grown over the years, but she hosted an amazing benefit for Children's Miracle Network. And they raised 1.1, 1.2 million, depending upon what all comes in. That is Tansley. It's an amazing energy that she brings. And so when I was looking here and I thought, you know, you're changing the world. And you're doing it by showing people what to do, okay? By being a model. And when we think about what will bring people from social media, what will bring our young people to this movement, it's people like you, Tansley. So it is wonderful to see the next generation leader be before us and joining the HERSTORY. And I just welcome you to the stage and thank you.
My grandma Edith was a genealogist, so being in a museum is spectacular to me. And she was a genealogist before the interwebs. And what that means is, in my childhood, we had picnics in cemeteries, we went to libraries, and we met strangers so that she could learn about our history. And I believe very firmly that our history informs where we go. This honor means everything to me because I stand on her shoulders. I'm really humbled to share this with those being honored today. It is a unique privilege, and I congratulate each and every one of you. Stephanie, thank you so much for bringing this to life. I really am committed to women and our future, and these moments to celebrate one another mean everything. There are 3 specific women that I want to mention to you today that have helped to shape my story. And the first is Terry Keene. She's the board chair at Community Financial Credit Union. It's super unusual to have the board chair be a woman and the CEO be a woman in credit unions. And I will tell you that being a CEO of a credit union has been my dream for over 20 years. And her partnership has made that dream come to life. And the fact that she's in this room today tells you everything you need to know about her commitment, her passion, and her energy to ensure that credit unions have the future we should. My mom, Liz Webb. My mom taught school for 30 years, and what her life was like as an English teacher was very, very complicated. She wanted to make sure that we could have everything we could as a family, and she wanted to serve students, and so that meant building floats until midnight. It meant ensuring that she was calling track meets, and it meant that I got to go do all of those things. And what it taught me was the grit and determination to build a dream and to carry that forward and to have your kiddo with you while you do. And my daughter, Mackenzie. Mackenzie was a dream come true for me. And there's been a lot of sacrifice in her life to watch my dream of leading credit unions come to life. And yet here she is. And what I know is that when she walks in a room, you don't guess that she's nearly 14. And as she engages with other human beings and builds her dreams, she will do so in a way that will change the world. And that's the power of women coming together. And while my motherhood may not look like what others did, I know that her future is shaped by a motherhood that is uniquely ours. Leading in credit unions is an exceptional opportunity, and as women, we have a special space. I also want to tell you that I have a challenge for each of you today. We must do better. We congratulate ourselves a lot, and we have reason to celebrate, and we should be restless about progress because it's not fast enough, and we have to do more. I hope that today's ceremony gives you an opportunity to be inspired and to tomorrow find someone else to walk with towards an even brighter future, because credit unions are needed and women are needed to lead. Thank you so much for this honor.
Uh-oh. She may have awakened the giant, I have to say. We are here celebrating, and we're celebrating the work that's been done, and there's a lot of work to do. So thank you for that challenge to all of us. And thank you to maybe the kick in the butt that we need at times to say there's more to do, because your daughter, you know, all of our families, friends, our communities are there. They need the support of credit unions, so I appreciate it so much. All right, I'm gonna stay on task. Okay, this next woman has been in the industry. She has been in the field. She just shows up at events, at places that make a difference. And she's done it with a spirit that always says, roll up your sleeves. And Joanne represents a small credit union. And we don't, in my world, call them small. We call them boutique because of a specific reason. They serve a community, a unique environment that is critical to not only our financial ecosystem, but to the people. The people. When you think of the asset size and you think of big, small, and all that, I did some research recently, and under 100 million, it's not just the 3,000 credit unions. It's 89 billion in assets. That is not a small industry. That represents humans that need the support. And Joanne is one of those people. She rolls up her sleeve. She has a big impact in the communities around the world. I'm sure they have a special place when you go to Africa just to say, Joanne was here, okay, and she'll come back. She absolutely models the way, and she represents the heart of our industry, our boutique credit unions. Joanne, congratulations.
Oh gosh, thank you, Sue. That is just brilliant. And thank you, everybody. This museum is a really special place, and boy, there are a lot of special people here today. And I guess you're watching out there too. Many of you, certainly all the HERSTORY inductees, are friends of mine, and they inspire and lift me up, and I cannot believe that I'm among them. But I'm honored. I will say, as my friends say, just say, thank you, I'm honored. Stephanie does just a fabulous job here. She is one of my heroes. And of course, an honor like this isn't about one person. It's certainly not about me. It's about a whole community, right? So the board of directors of our credit union, Althea is here from our board. I just thank them. They have adopted and embraced a community development mission that is consistent with my own personal mission. And that makes it so easy to do this work. I couldn't do what I do without the credit union team. I know many of you are watching out there. And with us is Rob Delgado from our credit union. And he really was the energy behind this nomination. And I thank you for that, Rob. I'm just floored by this honor. Our whole team visited this museum in February. It was an all-team, it was an all-staff day, team development day. I gotta get this right, because that language is important. Team development, right? And it was magical. We're fortunate to be in Connecticut, about a 2-hour bus ride up here. Taylor Murray from Service Star, you're watching. Hi, Taylor, we wish you were here. He's at home because of another very powerful woman, Hurricane Helene. He's in Gainesville, Florida, and as far as he knew as of yesterday, he was directly in the path of this hurricane, so he had to be with his family. But anyway, our voyage up here, the messages, the depth of history here, really important. And I'm inspired by my credit union network. All of you, the folks who came from Connecticut, my little cheering section here, thank you guys. They're over there. And I want to thank my husband, Jeff. Nobody here, well, I think 1 or 2 people here have met him, but he's an elusive guy. He's a mystery man, but he does exist. And he is my rock, so this is my only opportunity from the podium to tell him how much I love him. So I'm going to share my history about some special women. And because there's some facts in here, I'm going to have to read this a little bit. So about 40 miles south of here, on the Merrimack River, is a very similar mill town to Manchester, New Hampshire. It's Lowell, Massachusetts.
Yes.
In the early 1900s, just like here in Manchester, French Canadians looking for a better life migrated to mill towns that dotted the swift-flowing rivers of New England, including Lowell and Manchester. In 1919, Eliza Ducharme, age 41, gave birth to her 12th child, Simon, who's my mother, in Lowell. Eliza's husband, my grandfather, had died a few months earlier. No surprise, Eliza struggled as a single mother to provide for her family for the rest of her life. In the mid-1920s, Eliza moved her brood to Willimantic, Connecticut. And Willimantic is Algonquin for land of the swift-running river. There were mills there too. She ran a boarding house for French Canadian men who had gone to Willimantic, further south yet from Manchester, from Lowell, to work at the American Thread Company, one of the many, many waves of immigrants who have kept these mills humming. Or did keep these mills humming. Eliza continued in poverty, and her kids, including my mom, ended up in an orphanage for a time. So we all stand on the shoulders of giants. These are my giants. And I'll say that when I see people who speak a different language, in this case French, who are from a different culture, who don't know the financial system, who don't have the privilege of education, who live in poverty, I think of my grandmother, an immigrant single mother with those kids. How can we accept that the poorest, the people who have the least and know the least, pay the most for financial services? How can we help? How do we need, or where do we need to be that help? That is my why. I stumbled into credit unions. This was not my destiny. I was a 16-year-old high school intern, and I helped at the credit union for the American Thread Mill. Yep, the same mill where my grandmother helped. At age 19, I was hired to run the Willimantic ATCO Employees Federal Credit Union, that little tiny credit union, and it was tiny, 500,000 people. I can't even begin to tell you the stuff I did there. But my sights were off in the distance. I was saving to go to UConn, go Huskies, where I went on to the School of Engineering, one of only 2 women in my class. Woohoo! While at UConn, which is the basketball center of the universe, I worked at Northeast Family Federal Credit Union, my current credit union, part-time as a teller. And I always thought that working at the credit union was a means to an end. And that end was going to be a distant job that paid a lot, that moved my family solidly into the middle class. Turns out in the end, my end was where I started at a credit union, a super social cooperative that serves mill towns. Even after passing the CPA exam and getting my MBA, I could not and I would not leave our credit union in our community. So it's been a joy to work on development issues both locally and internationally. You heard a little bit about my African connection. I go there just about every year. I am really blessed to have built libraries, or to continue to build libraries and a reading culture with American Friends of Kenya, mentor credit unions in Africa and the Caribbean, work with the Haitian Women's Table Banking Project through Roots of Development, till we have laid the groundwork for Uzbekistan credit unions with the Farmer to Farmer program. But as important, closer to home, I experienced the impact of collaboration, facilitating planning sessions and governance training, leading the charge on legislative advocacy, and offering financial expertise at not only credit unions, but other cooperatives. We're a cooperative. We need to embrace that. Vital local nonprofits, schools, and even local governments. I worked with awesome people. I have met so many awesome people, including all of you along the way. It's better than, well, it's just great. And I've learned so much that's really added to the why, right? So my call to action as credit unions, we need to do what Tansley said, and we need to look around for the need in the world and use your time and talents to help humanity. If we all do that, we're gonna get it right. We will get it right. So I'm gonna end, I'm probably over time, sorry, with my concerns about credit union consolidation. As was stated, we're a small credit union. We call ourselves, my board chair, Josh Lewis, who isn't here, but he's termed us a local credit union with purpose, on purpose, okay? I live the reasons for consolidation, right? We talk about scale, succession, compliance, competition, all those things that are driving this competition or consolidation. But it really is not viable for the survival of our credit union movement. So, along with that charge, let's all together look to the future and try to stem this tide, okay? The need is really great, but we're great. We can do this. Thank you.
You inspired so many different levels in your speech. All of us come from somewhere. All of us had a mother or a father who sacrificed to get us to where we are today. My father from Texas during the Depression. My mother, an Irish pioneer, okay, in the wagon. All of us have a story. And when you think about those stories and you think about the ones that are represented here in the room, this is not just about our passion for credit unions. This is about our passion for people, for the next generation, for your daughter. I'm blessed to have a daughter that's also in this movement, and as also, Brandy, if you're there, very engaged. I also have a husband that is out here with us. I also have a son that's now joined the movement. That's what we didn't start out to do, but it's what it's become. And so how is it that we can't connect with the next generation? Let's study that. Let's understand that. Because we are the generation to pass it on, to bring you here, to hopefully see her as a CEO of a credit union. Not to put, that on her career plan right now. So with that in mind, there are people that start out and then continue to increase their impact on this industry. Caroline worked within a credit union. She spread the news, she's marketing, she's just talented. Then she took that talent to an executive position at Co-op, the QSO movement. She understood that connecting, collaborating, cooperating together could bring us to a different place as credit unions. And now she's the cornerstone of the industry and represents one of the largest leagues in the country. I met Caroline in different phases of that journey, and I've seen the opportunities that have been presented. I've seen the struggles at those opportunities, because the other thing that comes with what we've talked about here today is the sacrifices, the pain, the not being home, or losing the people in our lives. All of those things make us who we are today. And Caroline has seen that. She's pushed through, and she's been a leader that has inspired people, from me to people throughout your journey. So I'd love to have Caroline inspire us and join us on the stage. Congratulations.
I came across a saying a few years ago, and it goes like this: no one can whistle a symphony. It takes an entire orchestra to play it. So I want to name a few members of the orchestra in which I play a part. First of all, Greg, who's my better half, my rock, he was the man whose hand I was holding when we summited Kilimanjaro to raise money for Okoska. And he couldn't be here. He's in Philadelphia on a business meeting today. So, sweetie, if you're watching, all the love. And to my mom, another single mother. And that woman, still to this day at 82, teaches me every day what it means to be a strong, capable, badass woman. Right, Jill? Jill, give me a little bracelet to tell me that. That's who I am every day, right? And then my dad, who's turning 90 on Tuesday, who, God bless him, he didn't have much of a formal education, but through grit and a lot of hustle, he started and sold several entrepreneurships. He had quite a career and didn't stop working until he was about 75, because he just loved it. So he's still charming the ladies at the assisted living place. So he's a force of nature just as well. And then here's a name a lot of you will know, Stan Holland. Because Stan, and Sue alluded to this, Stan gave me a huge shot at Co-op Solutions, and trusted me and believed in me. And early on in my journey there, I was there for 11 years, told me, Caroline, you're going to be a CEO. It's just a matter of where and when. And I didn't know that about myself at the time. It took someone else seeing that in me. So God bless the leaders who see that in someone else and inspire them to grab hold of it and reach for that brass ring, actually. Stan also taught me, though, that being a leader comes with an obligation. And he still pushes me. He's retired, but he still pushes me. And he tells me, Caroline, it's also your job, it's your obligation to leave a legacy. You don't just get to sit there in that big chair, in that corner office. You've got to do something that leaves a lasting impact. And we all know Stan did. And I keep telling him, I'm working on it, Stan, I'm working on it. I'm not done yet. I want to thank Sue, because Sue and I, we have known each other a long time, since you were at Midas. It's been a minute. And we had a moment in my backyard when I was still living in California, sitting on my patio, and you were coaching me through a pivotal point in my career when I was thinking about different paths that I might take. Thank you for being a role model to me and to so many other women in this movement. I so appreciate you. I also want to give a shout out to the other women who've been inducted here today, or being inducted here today, because Donna, Crystal, Judy, Tansley, Joanne, and Patsy, I can't believe I'm in this group. I really can't. That's not false humility. If you know me, you know I don't own that. It's just the gravity of it is still sinking in, so how lovely. And I want to thank Stephanie as well, and the America's Credit Union Museum Board for making this space to shine a spotlight on female leaders. This is important. And Tansley, I'm gonna carry out your charge, absolutely, lady. And then finally, if I started out by talking about an orchestra, I want to introduce you to the big, bold brass section of that orchestra, and that is the Cornerstone family. And I will tell you that they rarely roll their eyes when I come back from a conference or a meeting with league presidents and I've got some new idea for something that I want to do. You can see it, can't you? Because you've all been in similar situations. But I come back with an idea. They don't roll their eyes in front of me, but they improve on the idea, they build on it, and they execute like you wouldn't believe. And it's because of them that we've been able to be successful as a league. I'm just holding down the fort and signing the paychecks. So I am very deeply, deeply indebted to that team. I know some of you are watching today. So I just want to end by saying that this is such an honor. I'm really humbled. Doesn't happen very often, but I can't believe I'm standing here, and thank you so much.
Alrighty, now I get to bring somebody to the stage that many, many of us know. Patsy is a leader, period. It is every place she goes, it is volunteer work, it is in her community, it's with her brothers, it is basically just something she does. And I've had the opportunity to know Patsy and to see her impact on all the boards you not only were part of, but you became chair of, the ones that asked you back, the ones that wanted you to serve 3 terms. I mean, Patsy has been involved in shaping our industry to what it is today. Not only the individuals, not only the league, not only the national level, but also on a local basis with many of us who have benefited from that. I also want to comment that there's a quality in Patsy that I think is probably in all of us here, and that's the desire to continually learn. She and I got together as part of Mitchell Stankovic, and she became an associate. And in that role, she has, for the last couple of years, inspired me with the underground, challenged things. And with the formation of Seed Pride, she brought her inquisitive nature to what that means. And she dedicated herself to learning, to hearing the stories, to bring out the empathy that's needed for those people that are left behind within society, that need to be represented. And it's not always easy. The terminology is not always easy. The languages are not always easy. But for me, opening your heart and having somebody like Patsy be willing to stand up with us, be part of CU Pride, and continue your journey, even though you've retired quite a few years ago. She is as active, if not more active today, than she was as a credit union CEO. So please join me in welcoming Patsy.
do have notes. This is really important and a very special day for me, and I want to make sure not to say everything that I came to say. I grew up in a small town in North Carolina in the 50s at a time when children were seen and not heard, especially little girls. Fortunately, my mom and dad didn't try to put me and my brothers in a corner and keep us quiet. I'm not sure that would have worked anyway. By the time I started first grade, I had 3 younger brothers. I loved school, coming home and teaching them what I had learned. They were my first students. They were also my first teammates. There were 3 of them, so they needed me to round out the team to even the odds, whether playing baseball or football. Because I was the oldest and the only girl, I was the self-appointed leader. I learned early on that telling them what to do wasn't the best way to get things done. That was an early lesson in leadership. I grew up at a time of racial tension in the South. I walked into doctors' offices that were marked for whites. There were other doors for coloreds. Waiting rooms were segregated. I was a junior in high school before black students were allowed to attend my school. It was during the 60s that I learned that it was important to speak up for civil rights, equal opportunity, and equality for women, that protesting and advocating were sometimes needed to get your point across. Little did I know then that advocating for others would become an important part of my future, as well as standing up for what was right and fair. Our early experiences shape who we become later in life. Each of us has a story like mine to tell. Growing up, I didn't expect my story to be working for credit unions for almost 5 decades. John accepted a job in Eureka, California in 1976, and I applied for a job as a loan officer at a $25 million credit union. I met Steve Anton Giovanni, who was the chair of the California Credit Union League, and he told me in the interview that if I wanted a career in an industry, a movement founded on people helping people, I should consider credit unions. It's because of Steve that I found my life's work. I became passionate about credit unions, what they stand for, and the rest is history. We are all connected. I'm connected to each of the women being recognized today. I met Tansley when I was on the board of Filing Research, and Caroline when I was on the board of Co-op. I remember being impressed with them then, and so impressed with what you both have accomplished. Donna and I, who couldn't be here today, are connected through the Golden One Credit Union, and Joanne and I through the Global Women's Leadership Network. Crystal, like me, grew up in credit unions, promoted through the ranks, and became a very effective CEO. And Judy and I were colleagues in California, and at the time, 2 of only a handful of women who were CEOs of billion-dollar credit unions. We attended many state and national roundtable meetings to make sure that women's voices were heard, that we had a seat at the table. I know we helped pave the way for some of the women CEOs today. I'm so glad that Sue was asked to be our MC. She and I are also connected. We first met when I was the CEO of Alliance Credit Union and worked with Sue on Midas marketing. Years later, she recruited me to get involved in the Global Women's Leadership Network, and I've been a volunteer ever since. After I retired, she asked me to join Mitchell Stankovic and Associates as a consultant, and last fall to take on a new role, which is to provide executive support to Zach Christensen, who is the executive director of CU Pride, and as she mentioned, to lend my voice to the LGBTQ community as an ally, and to encourage other allies to help create a safe, inclusive place for education and communications. Throughout my career, I worked to be inclusive, to be an advocate, and to make sure all opinions and points of view were heard. I'm very glad that Sue asked, I'm glad that I said yes to Sue each time she asked, and as many of you know, you really can't say no to Sue anyway, so. Your friendship, Sue, has meant so much to me, and I'm honored to be here today because of your nomination, and I really do like working with you to get stuff done. At my retirement party, when I retired as the CEO of Travis Credit Union, I said, I truly believe the statement that to whom much is given, much is expected. I gave back through my participation on a number of industry boards and committees, as a volunteer in the communities where we lived, and contributions of time, energy, and money. I believe in the importance of being a mentor and helping mentor others. I had wonderful mentors in my career like Steve and Stan Holland, who Caroline mentioned, who was the CEO of the Golden One Credit Union. He let me spread my wings and get involved in organizations that were innovative and game-changing, like shared branching. That's when I became actively involved in the League and was elected to the CUES board. Our focus was on education, and we developed the CEO Institutes. I have always stressed the importance of education, training, and development, both for me personally and for individuals who reported to me. I think mentoring others was the most rewarding aspect of my work. I want to thank my husband, John, who is here, who's been with me every step of the way, always been in my corner. I can't thank you enough for your love and support, and for sharing me with credit unions since 1976. I would not be receiving this award if it wasn't for you. Congratulations again to the amazing ladies being recognized. I am honored to receive this recognition and sincerely thank the museum's board of directors and the sponsors of the HERSTORY Award for bringing the contributions of women in credit unions to the forefront. Thank you very much.
Okay, I don't know about you, but I'm exhausted. And I'm saying that from the standpoint of the emotional investment that has come from every one of these speakers. As Patsy noted, Donna couldn't be with us today, but there is a special ceremony that is in your program that's planned for Monday, September 30th, that where we'll celebrate and honor Donna. And so I've been asked to make a few final comments here. And it's an opportunity, frankly, to point out a few things. In July, the African American Confederation of Credit Unions opened an exhibit here. Please take a moment to look at that. Yesterday, Renee Sattywhite and I were elected to the board of the museum, and I'm looking forward to what we can do. And Renee asked me to please convey her appreciation to everyone here, and not only for being elected to the board, but for recognizing how important our diversity of thought is to the future. And when we look to the future and we look at all of our stories and our history and the need to ensure that continues, we do not, Carolyn and I talked about this with an underground chat a few years ago, we do not want financial deserts in this country. Our small credit unions represent the ability to connect with people on farms, in areas where we truly need credit unions. And I think the cooperative spirit is not just about us cooperating, it's also about getting shit done. Yeah, Patsy's polite, said stuff. It's really about not taking no. I was working for an initiative that we're going to be announcing soon, and we were talking about, the plan, what are we going to do? And someone on the phone said, Sue, it's been tried, it's not going to happen. And I just responded, that was then, this is today, and today is a different world. And then last night, I got communication from my daughter that my oldest grandson, first year in high school, was told that a young woman asked her teacher for something sharp and slit her wrists. I tell you that, not to be dramatic as we finish today, but I tell you that from the standpoint that our children are learning lessons that we have to break the echo chambers. We cannot have that messaging grow our future generation. We have to have our message of hope, of love, of community, of people coming together, not taking no, climbing those mountains, making sure that we're raising, okay, a world that is not just about women, not just about men, not just about the LGBTQ community, all of our diversity of people in the world. It's truly about humans and having access to a better life. And so I wanted to end with those thoughts because as I continue on my journey, those are the things that I think about. Those are the things that make me jump into the room and get out there and keep trying. So thank you for being here today. It absolutely is memorable for all the women that were here. Thank you to our audience. Thank you to the board. And thank you to Stephanie. Please welcome her back on stage, and I appreciate being here.
Okay, for my final act, you are going to see in the next 60 seconds several hats that Stephanie, the museum director, wears. First and foremost, as the event planner, I want to let you know what's going to happen next. We're going to do a formal presentation of the plaques for our HERSTORY inductees. We're going to ask the inductees to please come forward, collect their plaques. We will do pictures with our photographer, and please stay here on the stage with me. And then after that, we will do group photographs with our inductees, and you're all welcome to join us on the second floor for lunch. You can stay in the museum as long as you want. At some point I will turn the lights out and go home, but I suspect that I'll probably last a little bit longer than you. And the second hat that I want to wear and share with you is the one of the museum director. And I hope that as all of you leave here today, as well as those of you that are online with us today, the moment that I want you to remember from this event is when you say the names of these inductees. You're going to say Tansley Stern, and you're going to pause. And it's that feeling that I want you to take with you, because that's the self-reflection of her message, that's the self-reflection of Caroline's message, Crystal, Joanne, all of you, Patsy, Judy, and even the inductees from the past that are here. I want you to take that moment and remember the stories that they've told you, the inspiration that they've given you, and I want you all to go out and do good, you know? So that is my message to all of you. And with that, let's make this all official. I'm going to ask Sue and Nathan to join me here, and we will officially induct these women. First up, Crystal Long, please join us. Tansley Stearns. Joanne Todd. We're huggers. Caroline Willard. Patsy Van Auerkirk. And certainly last but not least, Judy McCartney. Ladies and gentlemen, and those of you that are on our live stream, it is my distinct honor and privilege to present to you the 2024 HERSTORY inductees. with that, we will end our formal program. We will sign off of the live stream with well wishes for all of our colleagues that are watching, and those of you that are in the path of the hurricane, please stay safe. And for those of you that are here at the museum, travel home safely. Thanks so much, everybody.